Release the Kraken!
Good evening, fellow game designers. Ron here with Lame Duck Studios, and here we are continuing on with our elf dude. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and make our character. I don't need my sizing block. I'll go ahead and get rid of that. And now it's time to do some box modeling. We're going to make the torso. So I'm going to go into a front view. I probably should have dimmed the picture because this is going to get kind of hard to see. So what we're going to do is only make half of him. And actually I'm looking at him right now, and you can see that he's kind of elongated. You see his head's kind of stretched. Before I do that, just to make it make sense, I'm going to grab both of these. Make sure you get both. Because if you change anything, you want it to be equal. So I'm going to go up to UV Editor. You can see I have both the UV shells here. I'm going to select both of them. So UVs, grab them both. And I'm going to position myself so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to grab my scale tool, and I'm going to scale it down. So this top scaler, scale it down. And you can see as I do this, I can stretch or skew. And I want to make it so that he looks kind of natural here. Because that head's kind of thick. Alright. Close this down. I'll do one quick adjustment. Sorry. Scale those up just a tad more. Move them up. Okay. I'll go ahead and resave this. Alright, so let's go ahead and drag in a cube, or drop in a cube. I'll go into our front view. And to make life a little bit easier, I'm going to turn this grid off. So the grid button is right here. I'm going to drag this cube up and size it. Now what's great about doing box modeling is we really only need to model one half of our character. So I'm going to position the box where I want it. I'm going to do both front and side view, so I just scale it. So remember that W, E, and R change from movement, rotation, and scale. So W is for movement, E is for rotation, R is for scaling. I'm going to go into my side view. Go ahead and double check, make sure it's about the right size for the torso. I'm going to make this block transparent. Go ahead and right click on it. You got to hold down the button, go down to Material Attributes. And right now we're using Lambert 1. Just be aware of that, that's the default. And I'm going to drag the transparency up to about half so that I can kind of see through my model. You don't want to go all the way up because it'll go invisible, so about yay far. Close that down. And let's do some shaping. So as we start making this, we only want to add the geometry we need as we go. So the first thing I got to do is split this down the middle. So I'm going to go to my front view. Remember, I don't want to model both sides at the same time because that's going to take forever. I'm just going to do one half. So I'm going to go into object mode here. I'm going to go up to Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop, close my tools there. The toolbar is right here with a little hammer. I'm going to click on the edge to make a loop. There it goes. And then I want to delete this half. So to do that, I'm going to go into Face Mode. So right click, Face Mode. I'm going to press Q to get rid of this little arrow here. So it's different. So that's going to get rid of that. I'm going to select one of these sides. So you can do left side or right side. I typically model on the left side of the character. So I'm going to go ahead and select this half. Press Delete. And now we have this open cube here that we can kind of work from. Okay. All right. So now that I have that, it's time to center up our line. I'm going to put the grid back on just so we can see it. we want to make sure that these are in the middle. So go to vertex mode. I'm going to grab the middle vertices. So I'm going to drag this little selection box. Select those. Hold down the X key. Drag them to the middle. So those are nice and center. If they don't snap properly, go up to your tool settings right here. And then under Move Snap, make sure that Retain Component Spacing is off and that you are in World mode right here. Okay. If you're in Object mode, they won't snap. Close that back in. All right. So I'm going to make this box about the right size for my torso. So I'm going to grab the vertices in the corner here. Hit W. Remember, I'm working in my front view. I'm just going to drag this angle down, or this group down to like about here. So at the edge of my hip. I'm going to select the ones in the middle. I'm not going to drag the box because that's going to make it off center and that's going to be a problem. So I'm going to drag the arrow down. And I'm creating kind of like this little bikini line shape. Shoulder is about yay big there. Neck is fine. Let me do the other side. So now we're going to come into the other side here. Same deal. I'm going to drag these over. So this is going to go to the chest, or the neck's connecting there. These are going to go to the back. I'm not going to go to the hood. I'll make the hood as a separate piece. And you can see as we're starting to do this, we're getting skewing. Don't worry, it's okay. As long as things line up, we're fine. So I'm going to drag these back to about where the end of the hip is. I'm going to drag these ones back to the butt. Okay. Now it's okay if these do not line up perfectly, because you can see that we have a bulge here and a bulge here, right? So I'm going to grab that. So this edge group here, pull that forward. This one, pull back. This one, pull in. Okay? And if that bugs you, it's okay, because remember that people are not boxes. People are round. So as I do this, I'm going to start adding curvature. Okay? So now that we have the basic shape for the torso, it's time to start adding cuts. We only want to add cuts when it's time to add them. So I'm going to go back up to Mesh Tools. I'm going to grab Insert Edge Loop. Where are you at? There you are. Remember that you can't click on the face. It'll do nothing. You have to click on an edge. So I want to add an edge to the next part that needs to be changed. So I need to create this spot for the arm. I'm going to go ahead and click right about there. And that's going to drop that edge loop in. Now as you get more comfortable doing this, you'll be able to drop in your loops a little bit earlier. But it's really good practice to only drop in what you need. So now that I put the loop in, I'm going to go to vertex mode. And I'm going to shape this group, move it in. I want this pocket for the arm to be a good size, so I'm going to kind of pull this out just a little bit. And for this part right here, I'm going to hit the R key, and I'm just going to scale until they're flat. So this is one area that I do want some flatness to, just to make it easier to attach this arm later. Okay, so I'm going to pull that out in just a little bit. We're going to have this come out. It's okay. We're going to adjust this on the other side. So let's go do that. So now that we have that on this side, you can see that we now have enough cuts to move these forward. So you can see this line and that line. Grab them both. Pull them forward. Okay, so now we're getting this shape. It's very important to watch what you're doing. Okay, so now we're getting this shape. Okay. I'm going to add a loop along here. So I'll go to my front view. I'm going to get my Insert Edge Loop tool. Hotkey is Y to reset. You can see the tool is here. The last tool you've used is always in the corner here. I'm going to create a loop right here on the arm. That's going to split across. And that's going to give me enough geometry to pull this back piece out. So let's go ahead and grab my I'll get out of my edge loop by hitting Q. Go back into vertex mode. I'm going to grab these back vertices here. I'm going to pull the back out. And you can see now we're getting the curvature to the back. See that? Remember, whatever you do on one side, go do on the other. So going back. Okay. Now you can see we have this spot under the arm, and we're almost able to pull this back. So if I were to grab those and pull those in, I'm getting close to the shape of the arm, but not well enough. I'm going to have to add some geometry there. So I'm going to undo by hitting Control Z. I'm going to pull this up, like so, just to get it tight on the arm. I'm going to create a new edge loop right about here. So, Y to reset my tool. I'll get my edge loop in there. Vertex mode. Let's pull these in. I'll get this one right down to the belt. And this edge loop right here, I'm also going to pull to the belt. I'm going to use the arrow because I'm in the middle. I don't want to end up going off to the side. And I'll pull that up to the belt. And just to make it a little bit even, I'm going to grab both across by hitting this little box, dragging the box across. Hit the R key. And I hit the top scale. Just drag that down. And that'll make it nice and straight. And I'm making this so we can have this belt loop here, because I know I'm going to want to add this later. So I'm just kind of planning out where the geometry is going to go. Alright, with the belt loop I need one more. But before I add that, let me check the other side. Make sure things are all lining up. We're good there, we're good there. You can see that the belt here comes out some, so I'm just going to pull those out just a tad. Adjust those. I'm going to add in my belt loop, or my next loop. So hit my tool again. You can see that the belt kind of tucks under here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to shape to the body and then pull the belt out. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my edge loop. Get rid of my tool. Right click, vertex mode. I'm going to grab these vertices in the front. I'm going to move that back. And you can see there's a line to the body, so I'm going to pull that back to the body. I'm going to do that with these ones as well. I'm going to pull those back to the body. This on the butt, I'm going to pull that one back to the body. You can see we're starting to get some exposure on the butt. It's fine. Pull this one to the body as well. You can see this line here. So that's going to be to the body. Go to my front view. And you can see in the front view, our edge loop kind of goes down some. It's fine. We're going to go ahead and grab this vertex. I'm going to grab these ones on the side. Hit R and I'll scale it so it straightens out. And I'll move this up to the belt, about where I want the belt to be. It's alright if I'm a little bit tight on here. It's okay. And now I'll check my front and my side view. You can see that in here we're kind of overlapping. That's kind of crisscrossing. You see that? So all I'm going to do here is just pull this front one out. So I'm going to go ahead and select that front one, and I'm just going to pull it forward just a tad. And grab this back one. I'll pull it back just a tad. Okay. Now I'm going to go around and start rounding some of these corners out. So I'm going to grab this one and this one. Select them both, hit R. Let's go into our view here. And we can start rounding these in, so just scale those in some. Do that. It's getting some curvature. Do the kind of the same thing with these. Pull those in. Here you might be thinking, well, why don't we just go down the whole line? Well, you want to eyeball and see what's going on before you do that. Because not everything is going to be adjusted quite the same. Okay. Let's check our front. I'm going to take this up because I want to create a loop here, but I don't want this to crisscross. So let's go ahead and grab these ones here. I'm going to drag this up. Center this, pull this one up. Fine and fine. I'm going to make a loop right here because I want to try to get this to kind of tuck in some. So get my loop, throw it in. Grab that one on the corner. Pull that in just a bit. Adjust this one. That's going to be close enough, I think, for our low res. We don't want to go too high here. We're trying to keep it simple. Now, as I said, as you do things in the front, you want to do on the side. So as we're coming in, you can see we have some spaces that we did not quite fill. So I'm going to grab this vertex, kind of move it forward. That one, move forward. And kind of pull that up some. This one in the back I'll adjust. This one on the back. You can see these ones are like the outer edge of the back. So I'm just kind of moving those to better fit the shape. This is the top shoulder. I'll bring it back some more. That's to the neck. Pull that back. Hi, kitten. And pull these back. So right now it's just a matter of going through and cleaning up your edges. Make sure that's aligned with the body. This one's going to come out. Alright, we're going to fix the butt. So right here, we have this angle, right? But we want this angle because we need what's called the bikini line. This is going to help with animation later. So I'm going to keep this angle here, but I want to continue to follow this angle upward around the body. So let's go ahead, come down here. I'm going to add an edge loop in. And you can see the edge loop follows the trend, which is great. I'm going to grab those vertices. And now I have enough geometry to start working the butt here. So I'm going to get those. Move it back. Move this one forward. Just kind of filling in spaces. So we have that shape now. Looking good. But we need to add a loop along the body here so we can get some more curvature. So I'm going to grab my edge loop tool. Right here in the middle, go ahead and add a loop. And that loop is going to let us get some more shape to the body. So vertex mode. I'm going to start tightening up these arms here. So I'll scale those in, making a pocket for where my arm's going to go. Get those ones. Just a little bit more. Underneath the arm, bring those in. You can see as I'm doing this, I'm starting to round out the body. Bring these in. And that's that hip. I'll get those four. There we go. Kind of rounding that out. Okay. Now this is a bit square right here, and I don't want that to be square, so I'm going to add an edge loop in it and to ease that out. So grab my edge loop tool. I'm going to split right along the top here. And I'm just going to use those extra vertices along this edge to kind of pull these out. So I'm going to grab them, and just to keep it good on time, I'll get edge loop here. Grab that edge, 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 and edge. I want to be careful on this bottom line. I want to keep that nice and flat for when I put the arm on. I'll go ahead and pull these out just a little bit, and you can see that adds just enough curvature to make it look natural. Kind of do the same thing with the shoulder. Kind of pull these up, add some curvature to it. I'm not going to worry about here because that's where the neck is going to be, and it's going to be pretty flat when we add it. But there we go. So this is the rough start of our torso. Okay. If you want to see what your torso is going to look like when it's full, you can go ahead and select it. Go up to Edit, Duplicate Special, hit the little options box there. We're going to do general type, we'll do Instance. Come down to Scale. We're going to do the X scale, -1. Now, I'm doing a -1 because you can see down here in my compass that my X is left and right. See this? Left and right is along my X. So -1 is going to flip this that way. So when I hit Apply, it's going to throw me another special over there. You can see it did give me some weirdness here. Make sure that your scale is negative on the X, but the Y and Z are positive. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that by coming out here. I'm going to middle mouse click, Control Z that. Make sure that this is positive and this one's positive. And then apply. And there we go. So we have our torso for our elf. Okay. Now what's cool about using a duplicate special is if I need to change anything, it's a live update. So if I grab that thing and move it, you can see it does live update, which is really handy. Alright, so let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to do a different iteration. So File, Save As. So Elf Dude, we had 00 for the last time. We're going to do 001. So this is the next iteration. So if something breaks, we didn't destroy our starting position, but we have a new position to be at when we reload. So, and I will see you guys in the next video.